Long live the king.
Bernardo,
He.
you come most carefully upon your hour.
'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
For this relief, much thanks.
Have you had quiet guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them. Stand ho! Who is there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegemen to the day.
Give you good night.
Farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Bernardo hath my place. Give you good night.
Hola, Bernardo.
Say, what? Is Horatio there? A piece of him. Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What, has this thing appeared again tonight?
I have seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along, with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Tush, 'twill not appear.
Sit and stay a while, and let us once again assail your ears, which are so fortified against our story what we tonight have seen.
Well, sit we down and let us hear Bernardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to loom that part of heaven where now it burns, both Marcellus and myself, the bell then beating once.
Peace! Break thee up, look where it comes.
In the same figure, like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar, speak to it, Horatio.
Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio.
Most like, it harrows me with fear and wonder.
It would be spoke to.
Question it, Horatio.
What art thou that usurps this time of night? Together with that fair and warlike form in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march. By heaven I charge thee, speak!
It is offended.
See, it stalks away.
Stay. Speak! Speak! I charge thee, speak!
'Tis gone, and will not answer.
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you want?
Before my God, I might not disbelieve without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As thou art to thyself, it is strange.
Thus, twice before, it jumpeth this dead hour. With martial stalk hath he gone by our watch.
In what particular thought to work, I know not. But in the gross and scope of my opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state.
Tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils as subject of the land. Who is can inform me?
That can I. Our former king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by a most emulate pride, dared to the combat in which our valiant Hamlet did slay this Fortinbras, who, by a sealed compact well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all those his lands which he stood seized of to the conqueror. Now, sir, young Fortinbras of unimproved metal, hot and full, hath shocked up a list of lawless resolutes for some enterprise, but to recover of us by strong hand those foresaid lands, so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the source of this our watch.
I think it be no other but e'en so. Well may it sort that this portentous figure comes armed through our watch, so like the king, that this was and is the question of these wars.
It is a mote to trouble the mind's eye. In the most high and palmy state of Rome, a little ere the mightiest Julius fell, the grave stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber in the Roman streets as stars with trains of fire, and dews of blood, disasters in the sun, and the moist star upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands was sick almost to doomsday with eclipse. And even the like precursor of fierce events, as harbingers preceding still the fates and prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climature and countrymen. But soft. Lo, behold, where it comes again. I'll cross it, though it blast me. Stay, illusion. If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there is any good thing to be done that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it. Marcellus!
Tis done! We do it wrong, being so majestical to offer it a show of violence.
He was about to speak, but then the cock crew.
And then it started like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons.
Evading and crowing of the cock. Some say that ever against that season comes, wherein our Savior's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then they say, no spirit dares stir abroad, so hallowed and so gracious is the time.
So have I heard. Break we up our watch, and by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For upon my life, this spirit dumb to us will speak to him. Do consent we shall acquaint him with it as needful in our loves, fitting our duty.
Let's do it, I pray. And I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently.
Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us befitted to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with remembrance of ourselves. Therefore, our sometime sister, now our queen, the imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we, as 'twere, with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and dropping eye, with mirth in funeral and dirge in marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, which have freely gone with this affair along, for all our thanks. Now follows that you know, young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death, our state to be disjoint and that of frame, colleagued with this dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message, importing the surrender of those lands lost by his father. Thus much the business is. We have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, to suppress his further gait herein. You, good Cornelius, bearer of this greeting to old Norway, farewell, and let your haste commend your duty.
In this and all things will I show my duty.
We doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell. And now, Laertes, what's the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is it, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes? That shall not be my offer, not thy asking. The head is not more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
My dread lord, your leave and favor to return to France, from whence though willingly I came to show my duty in your coronation. Yet now I must confess, that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again towards France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius?
He hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave by laborsome petition, and at last upon his will I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go.
Take thy fair hour, Laertes, time be thine, and thy best graces splendid at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet, and my son,
a little more than kin and less than kind.
how is it the clouds still hang on you?
Not so, my lord. I am too much i' the sun.
O good Hamlet, cast thy knighted colour off, and let thine eye look like a friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy veiled lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou knowest 'tis common. All that lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Aye, madam, it is common.
Well, if it be, why seems it so particular with thee?
Seems, madam? Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, no, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected haviour of the visage, together with all moods, forms, shapes of grief that can denote me truly. These, indeed, seem, for they are actions that a man might play. But I have that within which passeth show, these but the trappings and the suits of woe.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these mourning duties to your father. But you must know, your father lost a father, that father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some term to do obsequious sorrow. But to persever in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly. A will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. We pray you, throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as of a father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne. For your intent in going back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, bend you to remain here in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin, and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee, stay with us, go not to Wittenberg.
I shall in all my best obey you, madam.
Why, 'tis a loving and fair reply. Come, madam, this gentle and unforced accord of Hamlet sits smiling to my heart. Come away.
Oh, that this too solid flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his cannon against self-slaughter. Oh, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie upon it, fie! 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possess it merely. That it should come to this, but 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this Hyperion to a satyr. So loving to my mother that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember? Why, she would hang on him, as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on, and yet, within a month, frailty, thy name is woman, a little month, where those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, all tears. Why, she, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer. Married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. Most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good. But break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Hail to your lordship.
I'm glad to see you well. Horatio! Or I do forget myself.
The same, my lord, and your poor servant ever.
Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. What make you from Wittenberg? Marcellus? My good lord. I'm very glad to see you well. But what in faith make you from
A
Wittenberg?
truant disposition, good my lord.
I would not hear your enemy say so, nor shall you do my ear that violence to make a truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant, but what is your affair in Elsinore? We'll teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I pray thee do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven, or ever I had seen that day, Horatio. My father. Methinks I see my father.
Oh, where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio.
I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his like again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
Saw who?
My lord, the king, your father.
The king, my father?
Seizing your admiration for a while with an attend ear, till I may deliver upon the witness of this gentleman this marvel to you.
For God's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had this gentleman, Marcellus, on his watch, in the dead vast and middle of the night, been thus encountered. A figure, like your father, armed at point exactly, cap a pie, appears before him, and with solemn march goes slow and stately by him. Thrice he walked by his oppressed and fear-surprised eyes, within his truncheon's length, whilst he, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy in part he did, and I with him the 3rd night kept the watch, whereas he delivered both in time, formed the thing, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like.
But where was this? My lord, upon the platform where we watched. Did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought it lifted up its head and did address itself to motion, like as it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away and vanished from our sight.
'Tis very strange.
As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true. And we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, sirs, indeed. But this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight.
I do, my lord.
Armed, say you?
Armed, my lord.
From top to toe?
My lord, from head to foot.
Then saw you not his face?
Oh yes, my lord, he wore his beaver up.
What looked he frowningly?
A countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale.
And fixed his eyes upon you?
Most constantly.
Would I had been there?
It would have much amazed you.
Very like, very like. Stayed it long?
Well, one with moderate haste might tell 100.
Longer.
Not when I saw it.
His beard was grizzled, no?
It was, as I've seen it in his life, a sable silvered.
I will watch tonight. Perchance we'll walk again.
I warrant it will.
If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be tenable in your silence still, and whatsoever else shall hap tonight, give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves, and so fare you well. Upon the platform betwixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you.
Our duty to your honor.
Your loves is mine to you. Farewell. My father's spirit in arms? All is not well. I doubt some foul play. Will the night were come? Till then sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell. And sister, as winds give benefit and convoy is assistant, do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
Do you doubt that?
For Hamlet, and the trifling of his favor, hold it a fashion, a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more but so?
Think it, no more. Perhaps he loves you now. And now no soil nor caudal doth besmirch the virtue of his will, but you must fear. His greatness weighed, his will is not his own. For he himself is subject to his birth, and may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself. For on his choice depends the safety and health of this whole state. Then weigh what loss your honor might sustain, if with too credent ear you list his song, or lose your heart, or your chaste treasure opened to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it! My dear sister, the chariest maid is prodigal enough if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth to itself rebels, though none else near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not as some ungracious pastors do show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whilst like a puffed and reckless libertine himself the primrose path of dalliance treads, and recks not his own reed.
Fear me not. I stay too long. Here my father comes. A double blessing is a double grace. Occasion has smiled upon a second leave.
Get here, Laertes. Aboard, aboard for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There. My blessing with thee. And these few precepts in thy memory, look thou character. Give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast in their adoption tried, grapple them unto thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment of each new-hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel, but being in, bear't that the posed may beware of thee. Give every man thine ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit as thy purse can buy, but not expressed in fancy, rich, not gaudy, for the apparel oft proclaims the man, and they in France of the best rank and station are of a most select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This, above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow, as the night the day, thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this in thee.
I humbly do take my leave, my lord.
The time invites you, go, your servants tend.
Farewell. Ophelia, remember well what I have said to thee?
'Tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is Ophelia? He hath said to you.
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Marry, well bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have of your audience been most free and bounteous. If it be so, as so 'tis put on me, and that in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath of late made many tenders of his affection to me.
Affection? Pooh! You speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call them?
I do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Marry, I will teach you. think yourself a baby, that you have ta'en these tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or, not to crack the wind of the poor phrase running it thus, you'll tender me, a fool.
He hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion.
Aye, fashion you may call it. Go to.
And hath given countenance to his speech with almost all the holy vows of heaven.
Aye, springs to catch woodcocks. I do know, when the blood burns, how prodigal the soul lends the tongue vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both, even in their promise as it is a making, you must not take for fire. From this time be something scanter of your maiden presence. Set your entreatments at a higher rate than a command to parley. For Lord Hamlet believes so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tether may he walk than may be given you. In few, Ophelia, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which their investments show, but mere implorators of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bawds, the better to beguile. This is for all. I would not, in plain terms, from this time forth, have you so slander any moment leisure as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to't, I charge you, come your ways.
I shall obey, my lord.
The air bites shrewdly. It is very cold.
It is a nipping and an eager air.
What hour now?
Thinks it lacks of 12.
No, it is struck.
Indeed, I heard it not. Then draws near the season wherein the spirit God is wont to walk. What does this mean, my lord?
The king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse. And as he drains his draughts of Rhenish down, the kettle drum and trumpet thus bray out the triumph of his pledge.
Is it a custom?
Aye, Marius. But to my mind, though I am native here and to the manor born, it is a custom more honored in the breach than the observance. This heavy-headed revel east and west makes us taxed and traduced of other nations. They clip us drunkards, and with swinish phrase do soil our edition. And indeed it takes from our achievements, though performed at height, the pith and marrow of our attribute. So oft it chances in particular men that for some vicious mold of nature in them, as in their birth wherein they are not guilty, since nature cannot choose his origin, by the o'ergrowth of some complexion, oft breaking down the pales and forts of reason, that these men carrying, I say, the stamp of one defect, being nature's livery or fortune's star, their virtues else, be they as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in the general censure take corruption from that particular fault. The one dram of evil doth all the noble substance off adulter to his own scandal.
Look, my lord, it comes.
Angels and ministers of grace, defend us. Be thou a spirit of health or goblin damned. Bring with the airs from heaven or blasts from hell. Be thy intents wicked or charitable. Thou comest in such a questionable shape that I will speak to thee. I'll call thee. Hamlet! Father! Oh, answer me! What may this mean that thou, dead corse, again in complete steel, revisits thus the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous? Say, why is this? Wherefore? What should we do?
Beckons you to go away with it.
Look with what courteous action it waves you to a more removed ground. Do not go with it.
No, by no means.
It will not speak, then will I follow it.
Do not, my lord.
Why, what should be the fear? I do not set my life for a pin's fee, and for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? Waves me forth again, I'll follow it.
And what if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord? Or to the dreadful summit of the cliff that beetles o'er his base into the sea? and there assume some other horrible form which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness.
Wait, be still. Go on, I'll follow thee.
You shall not go, my lord.
Hold off your hands.
Ruled, you shall not go.
My fate cries out, still my call. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say away. Go on. I'll follow thee.
He waxes desperate with imagination.
Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Have after. To what issue will this come?
Something is wrought in the state of Denmark.
Heaven will direct it.
Nay, let's follow him.
Whither wilt thou lead me? Stay. I'll go no further.
Mark me.
I will.
My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself.
Alas, poor ghost.
Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold.
Speak. I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear.
What?
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night, and by the day confined to fast in fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house, I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood. But this eternal blazon was not meant for ears of flesh and blood. List, list, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love.
Oh God.
Revenge is foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to note that I with wings as swift as meditation or the thoughts of love may sweep to my revenge.
I find thee apt. Now, Hamlet, hear. 'Tis given out while sleeping in my orchard, a serpent stung me. So, the whole ear of Denmark is, by a forged process of my death, frankly abused. But know thou, noble youth, the serpent that did sting thy father's life now wears his crown.
Oh, my prophetic soul, my uncle!
Aye, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, won to his shameful lust the will of my most seeming virtuous queen. Oh, Hamlet, what a falling off was there from me, whose love was of that dignity that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline on a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be. Sleeping within my orchard, my custom always in the afternoon, thy uncle, upon my most secure hour, stole with juice accursed Hibona in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such enmity with blood of man, that it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor doth posset and curd the thin and wholesome blood. Thus was I, sleeping by a brother's hand, of life, of crown, of queen at once dispatched, cut down even in the blossoms of my sin, unhoused, disappointed, unannealed, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head.
Oh, horrible! Oh, horrible! Most horrible!
If thou hast nature in thee, bury it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch of luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursuest this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven, and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge, to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. Adieu. Adieu. Remember me.
Oh, all you host of heaven, O earth, what else shall I couple hell? Remember thee. Aye, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe. Remember thee. Yea, from the table of my memory I'll wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws, all forms of pressures past that youth and observation copied there. And thy commandment all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed with baser matter. Oh, villain! Villain! Smiling damned villain! So, uncle, there you are! Now it is to my word. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn it.
My lord! My lord! Hamlet! Oh, my lord!
Hello! Come, bird, come! How is my noble lord?
What news, my lord?
Oh, wonderful.
Good, my lord, tell it.
No, you will reveal it.
Not I, my lord, but heaven.
Nor I, my lord.
There is near a villain dwelling in old Denmark, but he's an errant knave.
There needs no ghost, my lord, come from the grave to tell us this.
Why, right, you are in the right. So then, without more circumstance, I hold it fit we shake hands and part. You as your business and desires shall point you, for every man hath business and desires, such as it is. And for my own poor part, look you, I'll go pray.
These are but wild and whirling words, my lord.
I'm sorry they offend you heartily.
There's no offense, my lord.
But yes, there is. By St. Patrick, Horatio. And much offense, too. And so, my good friends, as you are friends, scholars, and soldiers, give me one poor request.
What is it, my lord? We will.
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My lord, we will not.
We will not.
Nay, but swear it.
In faith, my lord, not I.
Nor I, my lord, in faith.
Upon my sword.
We have sworn, my lord, already.
Indeed, upon my sword, indeed.
Swear!
Come on. You hear this fellow in the cellarage. Consent to swear.
Propose the oath, my lord.
Never to speak of this that you have heard. Swear by my sword.
Swear!
Hic tu bique. Then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen, and lay your hands again upon my sword. Never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword.
Swear by his sword!
Well said, old mole. Canst work of the earth so fast. Once more remove, good friends.
Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange.
And therefore, as a stranger, give it welcome. There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy. But come. Here, as before, never. So help you mercy, how strange or odd soe'er I bear myself, as I, perchance, hereafter shall think meet to put an antic disposition on, that you at such times seeing me, never shall with arms encumbered thus, or with this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase as, well, well, we know, or we would and if we could, or if we list to speak, or there may be and if they might, or any such ambiguous giving out, to note that you know aught of me. This do swear. So grace and mercy at your most need help you.
Swear!
Rest, rest, perturbed spirit. And so, gentlemen, with all my love I do commend me to you. Let us go in together, and still your fingers on your lips, I pray. Time is out of joint. Oh, cursed spite that ever I was born to set it right. Nay, come, let's go in together.
How now, Ophelia? What is the matter?
My lord, I have been so affrighted.
With what, in the name of God?
My lord, as I was sitting in my closet, Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all unbraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings foul, down-jived, unguarded, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous in purport, as if he had been loosened out of hell to speak of horrors, he comes before me.
Mad for thy love?
I do not know, my lord, but truly I do fear it.
What said he?
He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then goes he to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus over his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound, as it did seem to shadow all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulders turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes. For out the doors he went without their help, and to the last bended their lights on me.
Come, go with me. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent nature foredoes itself and leads the will to desperate undertakings as oft as any passion under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. What? Have you given him any hard words of late?
Oh, my lord. But as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me.
That hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not quoted him. I feared he did but trifle and meant to rack thee, but beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves and our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which, being kept close, might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love. Come.
Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover, that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke our hasty sending. Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation, so I call it. Since nor the exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was. What it should be, more than his father's death, that thus hath put him so much from the understanding of himself, I cannot dream of. I entreat you both, by your companies, to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather so much from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus. That open lies within our remedy.
Good gentlemen, he hath talked much of you, and sure I am two men there are not living to whom he more adheres. If it will please you to show us so much gentry and goodwill, as to expend your time with us a while for the supply and profit of our hope, your visitation shall receive such thanks as befits a king's remembrance.
Both your majesties might by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pledges more to command than to entreaty.
But we both obey, and hereby give up ourselves in the full bent, laying our service freely at your feet to be commanded.
Thanks, Rosencrantz, and gentle Guildenstern.
Gentle Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. And I do beseech you to visit my too much changed son. Go, take these gentlemen where Hamlet is.
Heavens make our presence and our practices pleasant and helpful to you.
The ambassador from Norway, my lord, is joyfully returned.
Thou still hast been the father of good news.
Have I, my good lord? I assure my good liege, I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king. And I do think, or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure as it hath used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy.
Oh, speak of that. That do I long to hear.
Give first admittance to the ambassador. My news shall be the fruit to that great feast.
Thyself do grace to him, and bring him in. He tells me, my dear Gertrude, he hath found the head and source of all your son's distemper.
I doubt it is but in the main. His father's death, and our o'er-hasty marriage.
Well, we shall sift him. Welcome, my good friend. Say, Cornelius, what from our brother Norway?
Most fair return of greetings and desires. Upon our first, he set out to suppress his nephew's levies, which to him appeared a preparation against the Polak. But better looked into, he truly found it was against your majesty, whereat Greaves sends out arrests on Fortinbras, which he in brief obeys, receives rebuke from Norway, and makes vow before his nephew nevermore to give the assay of arms against your majesty, with an entreaty, fair and shown, that it may please you to give quiet pass through your dominions for this enterprise, on regards of safety and allowances therein are set down.
It likes us well, and at our more considered time we'll read, answer, and think upon this business. Meantime, we thank you for your well-took labor. Go to your rest. At night we'll feast together. Most welcome home.
This business is well ended. My liege and madam, to expostulate what majesty should be, what duty is, why day is day, night night, and time is time, were nothing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad call I it, for to define true madness, what is't but to be nothing else but mad. But let that go.
More matter, less art.
Madam, I swear I use no art at all. That he is mad, 'tis true. 'Tis true, 'tis pity, and pity 'tis true. A foolish figure, but farewell, for I will use no art. Mad, let us grant him then. And now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect for this effect, defective comes by cause. Thus it remains, and the remainder thus. Prepared. I have a daughter, have, whilst she is mine, who in her duty and obedience, mark, hath given me this. Now, gather and surmise. To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. That's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase. But you shall hear, thus. In her excellent white bosom,
Came this from Hamlet to her.
Good madam, stay a while, I will be faithful. Doubt thou the stars are fire, doubt thou the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. O dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers, I have not art to reckon my groans, but that I love thee best, O most best, believe it. Adieu. Thine evermore, most dear lady, whilst this machine is to him, Hamlet. This, in obedience, hath my daughter shown me, and more above, hath his solicitings, as they fell out, by time, by means, and place, all given to mine ear.
But how hath she received his love?
What do you think of me?
As of a man faithful and honorable.
I would fain prove so. But what might you think? When I had seen this hot love on the wing, as I perceived it, I must tell you that before my daughter told me. What might you, or my dear majesty, your queen here, think if I had looked upon this love with idle sight? What might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress, thus did I bespeak. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star, this must not be. And I prescripts gave her, that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, receive no tokens. Which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repulsed, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, thence to a fast, thence to a watch, thence into a weakness, thence to a lightness, and by this declension into the madness, wherein now he raves, and all we mourn for.
Do you think 'tis this?
Maybe very like.
Hath there been such a time, I would fain know that, when I positively said 'tis so, when it proved otherwise?
Not that I know.
Take this from this, if this be otherwise. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the center.
How may we try it further?
You know, sometimes he walks 4 hours together here in the lobby.
Indeed he does.
At such a time, I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind an arras then. Mark the encounter. If he love her not, and be not from his reason fallen thereon, let me be no assistant for estate, but keep a farm and carters.
We will try it.
Look where the young very rich comes reading.
Away, I do beseech you, both away. I'll board him presently. Oh, give me leave. How does my good Lord Hamlet?
Well, God a mercy.
Do you know me, my lord?
Excellent well. You are a fishmonger.
Not I, my lord.
Then I would you were so honest a man.
Honest, my lord?
Aye, sir. To be honest, as this world goes, is to be one man picked out of 10,000.
That's very true, my lord.
For if the sun breed maggots and a dead dog, being a god-kissing carrion, have you a daughter?
I have, my lord.
Let her not walk i' the sun. Conception is a blessing, but not as your daughter may conceive. Friend, look to it.
How say you by that, still harping on my daughter? Yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, far gone. And truly, in my youth, I suffered much extremity from love, very near this. I'll speak to him again. What do you read, my lord?
Words. Words. Words.
What is the matter, my lord?
Between who?
I mean, the matter that you read, my lord?
Slanders, sir. For the satirical rogue says here that old men have gray beards, that their eyes purge thick amber and plum tree gum, and that they have a most plentiful lack of wit, together with most weak hams. All which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it set down thus. For yourself, sir, shall grow old as I am, if, like a crab, you could go backward.
Though this be madness, yet there is method in't. Will you walk out of the air, my lord?
Into my grave?
Indeed, that is out of the air. How pregnant sometimes his replies are. A happiness that sometimes madness hits on, which reason and sanity could not so prosperously be delivered of. I'll leave him, and suddenly contrive the means of meeting between him and my daughter. My honorable lord, I will most humbly take my leave of you.
You cannot, sir, take from me anything I will more willingly part withal, except my life. Except my life. Except my life.
Fare you well, my lord.
These tedious old fools.
You go to seek the Lord Hamlet. There he is.
What say you, sir? My good lord? My most dear lord.
Friends! Not just thou given concern. Rosencrantz, good lads, how do ye both?
As the indifferent children of the earth.
Happy now, we are not over happy. On Fortune's cap, we are not the very bottom.
Nor the soles of her shoe.
Neither, my lord.
Then you live about her waist or in the middle of her favors.
Faith, her private suite.
The secret parts of fortune, most true. She is a strumpet. What news?
None, but the world has grown honest.
Your news is not true. Then is doomsday near. But let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune, that she sends you to prison hither?
Prison, my lord.
Denmark's a prison.
Then is the world one.
A goodly one, in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst.
We think not so, my lord.
Why then 'tis none to you. For there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me, it is a prison.
Why, then your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind.
Oh God, I could be bounded in a nutshell, and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams. Oh. But, in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elsinore?
To visit you, my lord. No other occasion.
Beggar that I am even poor in thanks, but I thank you. And my thanks are too dear a halfpenny? Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come. Come. Deal justly with me. Come. Nay, speak.
What should we say, my lord?
Why, anything, but to the purpose. You were sent for. And there is a kind of confession in your looks which your modesties have not craft enough to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you.
To what end, my lord?
That you must teach me. So I conjure you, by the rights of our fellowship, be even and direct with me, whether you were sent for or no.
What say you?
Nay then, I have an eye of you. If you love me, hold not off.
My lord, we were sent for.
I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen molt no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory. This most excellent canopy, the air, look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire. Why, it appeareth nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god. The beauty of the world, the paragon of animals. And yet, what to me is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me, no, nor woman neither. Though by your smiling you seem to say so.
My lord, there was no such stuff in my thoughts.
Why did you laugh then when I said man delights not me?
To think, my lord, if you delight not men, what Lenten entertainment the players shall receive from you?
We courted them on their way hither to offer you service.
What players are they?
Even those you want to take such delight in, the tragedians of the city.
Do they hold the same estimation they did when I was in the city?
Nay, that they do not.
How comes it? Do they go rusty?
Nay, their endeavor keeps the wonted pace.
But there is, sir, an eyrie of children which cry out on the top of question and are most tyrannically clapped for.
Do the boys carry it away?
Aye, that they do, my lord.
Splud. There is something in this more than natural, if philosophy could find it out.
There are the players. What's the ball, sir?
You are welcome to Elsinore. Come, your hands. You are welcome.
Well be with you, gentlemen.
Hark you, Guildenstern, and you too, at each ear a hearer. That great baby you see there is not yet out of his swaddling clasp.
Happily, he's the second time come to them, for they say an old man is twice a child.
I will prophesy. He comes to tell me of the players. Mark it. You say right, sir. 'Twas Monday morning indeed.
My lord, I have news to tell you.
My lord, I have news to tell you. When Roscius was an actor in Rome...
The actors are come hither, my lord.
Buzz, buzz.
Upon my honor.
Then came each actor on his ass.
The best actors in the world. Either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, pastoral, comical, pastoral, historical, tragical, comical, historical, pastoral, scene indivisible, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor Plautus too light. For the law of written liberty, these are the only men.
O Jephthah, judge of Israel, what a treasure hadst thou?
What treasure had he, my lord?
Why, one fair daughter, and no more, the which he loved passing well.
Still on my daughter.
Am I not either right, old Jephthah?
If you call me Jephthah, my lord, I have a daughter that I love passing well.
Nay, that follows not.
What follows then, my lord?
Why, as by lot, God wot. And then you know it came to pass as most like it was. The first row of the pious chanson will show you more. For look where my abridgment comes. You are welcome, masters. Welcome all. I'm very glad to see you well. Oh, my old friend, why thy face is veiling since I saw thee last. We'll hear a speech straight. Come. Give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech.
What speech, my good lord?
I heard thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once. For I remember the play pleased not the million, 'twas cabaret for the general. One speech in't I chiefly loved. 'Twas Aeneas' tale to Dido, and thereabout especially where he speaks of Priam's slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hyrcanian beast, no, 'tis not so, begins with Pyrrhus. The rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the knight resemble when he lay couched in the ominous horse, hath now this dread and black complexion, smeared with heraldry more dismal. Head to foot, now as we total ghouls, horridly tricked with the blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and empasted with the parching streets, that lend a tyrannous and a damned light to their lord's murder. Roasted in wrath and fire, and thus so sized with coagulate gore, his eyes like carbuncles,
the hellish Pyrrhus, old grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you.
For God, my lord, well spoken with good accent and good discretion.
Anon he finds him, striking too short at Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched, Pyrrhus at Priam drives, enraged, strikes wide, but with the whiff and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then, senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming top, stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash, takes prisoner Pyrrhus' ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining upon the milky head of Reverend Priam, seemed in the air to stick. So as a painted tyrant Pyrrhus stood, and like a neutral to his will and matter did nothing. But as we often see against some storm, a silence in the heavens, the rack stands still, the bold wind speechless, and the orb below is hush as death. Anon, the dreadful thunder doth rend the region. So, after Pyrrhus' pause, aroused vengeance sets him new work, and never did the Cyclops' hammer fall on Mars' armor, forged for proof eternal with less remorse. Then Pyrrhus' bleeding sword now falls on Priam. Out, out thou strumpet fortune. O you gods in general synod, take away her power, break all the spokes and fellies from her wheels, and bowl the round nave down the hill of heaven, as low as to the fiend.
This is too long.
Shout to the barbers with your beard. Prithee, say on. He's for a jig or a tale of bawdry, or he sleeps. Prithee, say on. Come to Hecuba.
But who, oh, who had seen the Moblet Queen?
Moblet Queen.
That's good. Moblet Queen is good.
Run barefoot up and down, threatening the flame with bis and rune, a clout upon the head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lank and all ortimate loins a blanket, and the alarm of fear caught up. Who this had seen, with tongue in venom steeped, 'gainst fortune's state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods themselves had seen her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport in mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal moved them not at all, would have made Milch the burning eyes of heaven and passion in the gods.
Look, where I not he has not turned his color and has tears in his eyes. Prithee, no more.
'Tis well. I'll have thee speak out the rest of this soon. Good my lord, will you see these players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstracts and brief chronicles of the times. After your death, you were better have a bad epitaph than their ill report while you live.
My lord, I will use them according to their desert.
God's bodkin, man, much better. Use every man after his desert, and who should scape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in.
Come, sirs.
We'll hear a play tomorrow. Dost thou hear, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago?
Aye, my lord.
We'll have tomorrow night. You could, for a need, study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert in. Could you not?
Aye, my lord.
Very well. Follow that lord, and look you, mock him not. My good friends, I'll leave you till night. You are welcome to Elsinore.
Good, my lord.
Adieu. Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I! Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit, that from her working all his visage waned, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting the forms to his conceit? And all for nothing, for Hecuba! What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should mourn for her? What would he do, had he the motive and cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage in tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-meddled rascal, peak like John a dreams, unpregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king, upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain, breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lie of the throat as deep as to the lungs? Who does me this? Ha! Swoons I should take it, for it cannot be but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter. Or ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with this slave's awful, bloody-body villain, remorseless, lecherous, treacherous, kindless villain. Oh, vengeance! Why, what an ass am I. This is most brave. That I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must, like a whore, unpack my heart with words and fall a-cursing like a very drab, a scullion. Fie upon it, faugh, about my brain. I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that they have presently proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks, I'll tend him to the quick. If he do but blench, I know my course. The spirit that I have seen may be a devil, and the devil hath the power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps, out of my melancholy and my weakness, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king.
And can you, by no drift of circumstance, get from him why he puts on this confusion, grading so harshly all his days of quiet, with turbulent and dangerous lunacy?
He does confess he feels himself distracted. Well, from what cause he'll by no means speak.
Nor do we find him forward to be sounded, but with a crafty madness keeps aloof when we would bring him on to some statement of his true nature.
Well, did he receive you well?
Most like a gentleman.
But with much forcing of his disposition.
Negative question, but what demands most freeness reply.
Did you essay him to any pastime?
Madam, it so fell it that certain players we all wrote on the way. Of these we told him, and there did seem in him a kind of joy to hear of it. They are here about the castle, and as I think, they have already ordered this night to play before him.
'Tis most true, and he beseeched me to entreat your majesties to hear and see the matter.
With all my heart, and it doth much content me to hear him so incline. A good gentleman, give him a further edge, and drive his purpose on to these delights.
We shall, my lord.
Sweet Gertrude, leave us too, for we have closely sent for Hamlet hither, that he, as 'twere by accident, may hear affront of Ophelia. Her father and myself, lawful espials, will so bestow ourselves that, seeing unseen, we may of their encounter frankly judge, and gather by him as he is behaved, if be the affliction of his love or no, that thus he suffers for.
I will obey you. And for your part, Ophelia, I do wish your good beauties are the happy cause of Hamlet's wildness. So shall I hope your virtues will bring him to his wonted way again. Do both your honors.
I wish it may, madam.
Ophelia, walk you here. Gracious, so please you, we will bestow ourselves. Read on this book, that show of such an exercise may color your loneliness. We are oft to blame in this. 'Tis too much proved that with devotion's visage and pious action, we do sugar o'er the devil himself.
Oh, 'tis too true. How smart a lash that speech doth give my conscience. The harlot's cheek, beautied with plastering art, is not more ugly to the thing that helps it than is my deed to my most painted word. Oh, heavy burden.
I hear him coming. Let's withdraw, my lord.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take up arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep, no more. To sleep, to say we end the heartache and the thousand nostril shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished. To die, to sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub. For in that sleep of death, what dreams may come when we have shuffled off this mortal coil must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wronged, the proud man's contumely, the pangs of despised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of the unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietus make with a bare bodkin? Who would these fardels bear to grunt and sweat under a weary life, but the dread of something after death? The undiscovered country, from whose bourne no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus, conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is sicklied o'er with a pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pith and moment, with this regard their currents turn awry, and lose the name of action. Soft you now, fair Ophelia, nymph, thy orisons be all my sins remembered.
My good lord, how fares your honor for that many a day?
I humbly thank you. Well, well, well.
My lord, I have remembrances of yours that I've longed to redeliver. I pray you now receive them.
No, not I. I never gave you aught.
My honored lord, you know right well you did. And with them words of so sweet breath composed, that made the things more rich. Their perfume lost, take these again. For to the noble mind rich gifts wax poor when givers prove unkind. Here, my lord.
Are you honest?
My lord?
Are you fair?
What means your lordship?
That if you be honest and fair, your honesty should admit no discourse to your beauty.
Could beauty have better commerce than with honesty?
Aye, truly. For beauty will sooner transform honesty from what it is into a bawd, than the force of honesty can translate beauty into his likeness. This was sometime a paradox, but the time gives it proof. I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord. You make me believe so.
You should not have believed me. For virtue cannot so inoculate our old stock that we shall relish of it. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest. Yet I could accuse me of such things that it were better my mother had not borne me. I am very proud, revengeful, ambitious, with more offenses at my beck than I have time to act them and words to give them shape. What should such fellows as I do, crawling between earth and heaven? We are errant knaves all, believe none of us. Go thy ways to a nunnery. Where's your father?
At home, my lord.
Let the doors be shut upon him, that he may play the fool nowhere but in his own house. Farewell.
Help him, you sweet heavens.
If thou dost marry, I give thee this plague for thy dowry. Be thou as chaste as ice, as pure as snow, thou shalt not escape calumny. Go thy ways to a nunnery. If thou wilt needs marry, marry a fool. For wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them. To a nunnery, go, and quickly too. Farewell. I've heard of your paintings too well enough. God hath given you one face, and you make yourselves another. You jig, you amble, and you lisp. You nickname God's creatures and make your wantonness your ignorance. Well, no more on't, hath made me mad. I say, we will have no more marriages. Those that are married already, all but one shall live. The rest shall stay as they are. To a nunnery. Go!
What a noble mind is here overthrown. And I, of ladies most deject and wretched, had sucked the honey of his music vows. Now see that noble and most sovereign reason like sweet bells jangled, out of tune harsh. Oh, woe is me, to have seen what I've seen, see what I see.
Love, his affections do not that way tend, nor what he spake, though it lacked form a little, was not like madness. There's something in his soul, o'er which his melancholy sits on brood, and I do doubt the hatch and the disclose will be some danger, which for to prevent, I have in quick determination thus set it down. He shall with speed to England for the demand of our neglected tribute. Haply the seas and countries different, with variable objects, shall expel this something settled matter in his heart, whereon his brain still beating puts him thus from fashion of himself. What think you on't?
It shall do well, but yet do I believe the origin and commencement of his grief sprung from neglected love. How now, Ophelia? You need not tell us what Lord Hamlet said. We heard it all. My lord, do as you please, but if you hold it fit, after the play, let his queen mother all alone entreat him to show his grief. Let her be round with him, and I'll be placed, so please you, in the ear of all their conference. If she find him not, to England send him, or confine him where your wisdom best shall think.
It shall be so. Madness in great ones must not unwatched go.
Speak the speech, I pray you, as I pronounced it to you, trippingly on the tongue. For if you mouth it, as many of our players do, I would as lief the town crier spoke my lines. nor do not saw the air too much with your hand, thus. Use all gently, for in the very torrent, tempest, and as I may say, whirlwind of your passion, you must acquire and beget a temperance that may give it smoothness. Oh, it offends me to the soul to hear a robustious, periwig-pated fellow tear a passion to tatters, to very rags, to split the ears of the groundlings, who for the most part are capable of nothing but inexplicable dumb shows and noise. I would have such a fellow whipped for doing termagant. It out Herod's Herod, I pray you, avoid it.
I warrant your honor.
Be not to tame neither, though. Let your own discretion be your tutor. Suit the action to the word, and the word to the action. And with this special observance, that you o'erstep not the modesty of nature. For anything so overdone is from the purpose of playing, whose end, both at the first and now, was and is to hold as 'twere the mirror to nature, to show virtue her own feature, scorn her own image, and the very age and body of the time his form and pressure. Now, this overdone, or come tardy off, though it make the unskillful laugh, cannot but make the judicious grieve. The censure of the which one must in your allowance o'erweigh a whole theatre of others. Oh, there be players that I have seen play, and heard others praise, and that highly, not to speak it profanely, but neither having the accent of Christians, nor the gait of Christian, pagan nor man, have so strutted and bellowed, that I had thought that some of nature's journeymen had made men, and not made them well. They imitated humanity so abominably.
I hope we have reformed that indifferently with us.
Oh, reform it altogether. And let those that play your clowns speak no more than to set down for them. For there be of them that will themselves laugh, to set upon some barren quantity of spectators to laugh too, though in the meantime some necessary question of the play be then to be considered. That's villainous, and shows a most pitiful ambition in the fool that uses it. Go, make you ready. Will the king hear this piece of work?
And the queen too, and that presently.
Bid the players make haste. Will you hasten?
We will, my lord.
Horatio!
Here, sweet lord, at your service.
Horatio, thou art e'en as just a man as e'er my conversation could go.
Oh, my dear lord.
Nay, do not think I flatter. For what advancement may I hope from thee, that no revenue hast but thy good spirits to feed and clothe thee? Dost thou hear? Since my dear soul is mistress of her choice, and could of men distinguish, her election hath scald thee for herself. For thou hast been as one in suffering everything that suffers nothing. A man whose fortunes, buffets, and rewards has ta'en with equal thanks. And blessed are those whose blood and judgment are so well commingled that they are not a pipe for fortune's finger to sound what stop she please. Give me that man that is not passion's slave, and I will wear him in my heart's core, aye, in my heart of hearts, as I do thee. Something too much of this, I. There's a play tonight before the king. One scene of it comes near the circumstance which I have told thee of my father's death. When thou seest the act afoot, even with the very comment of thy soul, observe my uncle. If his occulted guilt do not itself unkennel in one speech, does a damned ghost that I have seen. My imaginations are as foul as Vulcan's stithy. Give him heedful note. For mine eyes will rivet to his face. And after, we will both our judgments join in censure of his seeming.
Well, my lord, if he steal aught whilst this play is playing, and escape detecting, I shall pay the theft.
They are coming to the play. I must be idle. Get you a place.
How fares our cousin Hamlet?
Excellent, in faith, of the chameleon's dish. I eat the air, promise crammed. You cannot feed capons so.
I have nothing with this answer, Hamlet. These words are not mine.
No, nor mine, now. My lord, you played in the university, you say?
That did I, my lord, and was accounted a good actor.
What did you enact?
I did enact Julius Caesar. I was killed in the Capitol. Brutus killed me.
It was a brute part of him to kill so capital a calf there. Be the players ready?
Aye, my lord. They stay upon your patience.
Sweet Hamlet, come sit by me.
No, good mother. Here's metal more attractive.
Oh, how do you mark that?
Lady, shall I lie in your lap?
No, my lord.
I mean my head upon your lap.
Aye, my lord.
Did you think I meant country matters?
I think nothing, my lord.
That's a fair thought to lie between maids' legs.
What is, my lord?
Nothing.
You're married, my lord.
Who, I?
Aye, my lord.
What should a man do but be merry? For look you how cheerfully my mother looks. And my father died not within 2 hours.
It is twice 2 months, my lord.
By heavens, died 2 months ago and not forgotten yet. Then there's hope a great man's memory may outlive his life a half a year.
Like the show imports the argument of the play.
We shall know by this fellow. The players cannot keep counsel, they'll tell all.
Will you tell us what it meant?
Aye, this show. Or any show you'll show him. Be not you ashamed to show, he'll not shame to tell you what it means.
You're not, I'll mark the play.
For us and for our tragedy, here stooping to your clemency, we beg your hearing patiently.
Is this a prologue or the posy of a ring?
'Tis brief, my lord.
As woman's love.
Full 30 times has Phoebus' cart gone round, Neptune's salt wash, and Tellus' orbit ground, and 30 dozen moons with borrowed sheen about the world have times 1230s been, since love our hearts and Hymen did our hands unite commutual in most sacred bands.
So many journeys may the sun and moon make us again countor ere love be done. But woe is me, you are so sick of late, so far from cheer, and from your former state that I distrust you. Yet, though I discomfort you, my lord, it nothing must.
Faith, I must leave thee, love, and shortly too. My operant powers their functions leave to do, and thou shalt live in this fair world behind, honored, beloved, and haply one as kind, for husband shalt thou.
Oh, confound the rest! Such love must needs be treason in my breast. A second husband, let me be accursed. None wed the second but who killed the first.
Wormwood, wormwood.
The instances that second marriage move are base respects of thrift, but none of love. A second time I kill my husband dead, when second husband kisses me in bed.
I do believe you think what now you speak, but what we do determine, oft we break. Purpose is but the slave to memory, a violent birth but poor validity, which now, like fruit unripe, sticks on the tree, but fall unshaken when they mellow be. But orderly to end where I begun, our wills and fates do so contrary run, that our devices still are overthrown. Our thoughts are ours, their ends none of our own. So think thou wilt no second husband wed, but die thy thoughts when thy first lord is dead.
Nor earth to me give food, nor heaven light. Sport and repose lock from me day and night. Both here and hence pursue me lasting strife. If once a widow, ever I be wife.
If she should break it now.
Sweet, I do believe you think what now you speak. 'Tis deeply sworn. But sweet, leave me here a while. My spirits grow dull, and fain I would beguile the tedious day with sleep.
Sleep, rock thy brain, and never come mischance between us twain.
Madam, how like you this play?
The lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Oh, but she'll keep her word.
Have you heard the argument? Is there no offense in't?
They do but jest. Poison in jest, no offense of the world.
What do you call the play?
The Mousetrap. Merry. How? Tropically. This is the image of a murder done in Vienna. Gonzago's the Duke's name, his wife Baptista. You shall see anon, 'tis a knavish piece of work, but what of that? Your Majesty, and we that have free souls, it touches us not. This is one Lucianus, nephew to the king.
You're as good as a chorus, my lord.
I could interpret between you and your love, if I could see the puppets dallying.
You're keen, my lord.
It would cost you a groaning to take off my edge. Begin, murderer. Pox, leave thy damnable faces and begin. Come, the croaking raven doth bellow for revenge.
Thoughts black, hands out, drugs fit, and times are green. Confederate season, else no creatures seen. Thou mixture rank of midnight weeds collected, and Hecate's ban, thrice blasted, thrice infected. Thou natural magic and dire properties, unwholesome life usurps immediately.
The king rises.
How fares my lord?
Give her the play!
Give me some light! Away!
Lights!
Oh, good Horatio, I'll take the the ghost word for £1,000 didst perceive.
Very well, my lord.
Upon the talk of the poisoning.
I did very well note him.
Ha! Come, some music. Come, the recorders. Come, some music.
Good my lord, vouchsafe me a word with you.
Sir, a whole history.
The king, sir.
Aye, sir, what of him?
Is in his retirement marvelously distempered.
What with drink?
No, sir, rather with colic.
Your wisdom should show itself more richer to signify this to the doctor. For me to put him to his purgation would perhaps plunge him into far more choler.
Good, my lord. Put your words into some frame and start not so wildly from my affair.
Sir, I am tame. Pronounce.
The queen, sir, your mother, in a most great affliction of spirit, has sent me to you.
You are welcome.
Nay, good my lord, this courtesy is not of the right breed. If it shall please you to make me a wholesome answer, I will fulfill your mother's commandment. If not, your pardon and my return shall be the end of my business.
Sir, I cannot.
What, sir?
Make you a wholesome answer. My wit is diseased. But such answers I can make. You shall command, or rather, as you say, my mother. Therefore, no more but to the matter. My mother, you say.
Then thus as she says, your behavior had struck her into amazement and admiration.
Oh, wonderful son that can so astonish a mother. Is there no sequel? The heels of this mother's admiration impart.
She desires to speak with you in her closet ere you go to bed.
We shall obey. Were she 10 times our mother. Have you any further trade with us?
My lord, you once did love me.
And do still.
Good, my lord, what is the cause of your distemper? Surely you do bar the door to your own liberty if you deny your griefs to your friends.
Sir, I lack advancement.
How can that be when you had the voice of the king himself to your succession in Denmark?
Aye, sir. The recorders. Let me see one. To withdraw with you. Why do you go about to recover the wind of me, as if you would drive me into a toil?
Good my lord, if my duty prove to be too bold, my love is too unmannerly.
I do not well understand that. Will you play upon this pipe?
My lord, I cannot.
I pray you.
Believe me, sir, I cannot.
I do beseech you.
I know no touch of it, my lord.
It's easy as lying. Govern these ventages with your fingers and your thumbs. Give it breath with your mouth, and it will discourse most eloquent music. Look you, these are the stops.
But these cannot I command with any utterance of harmony. I have not the skill.
Why, look you now, how unworthy a thing you make of me. You would seem to know my stops. You would sound me from my lowest note to the top of my compass, and there is much music, excellent voice in this little organ, and yet cannot you make it speak? Sblood, do you think I am easier to be played on than a pipe? Call me what instrument you will, though you can fret me, you cannot play upon me. God bless you, sir.
My lord, the queen would speak to you, and presently.
Do you see yonder cloud? It's almost in the shape of a camel.
By the mass, and 'tis like a camel indeed.
Methinks it's like a weasel.
It is backed like a weasel.
Or like a whale.
Very like a whale.
Then will I come to my mother by and by. You fool me to the top of my bent. I will come by and by.
I will say so.
By and by is easily said. Leave me, friend.
Now is the very witching time of night, when churchyards yawn and hell itself breathes out contagion to this world. Now could I drink hot blood, and do such bitter business as the day would quake to look upon. But soft. Now to my mother. O heart, lose not thy nature. Let not the soul of Nero enter this firm bosom. Let me be cruel, not unnatural. I'll speak daggers to her, but use none. My tongue and soul in this be hypocrites, how in my words somever she be shent, to give them seals never my soul consent.
I like him not, nor stands it safe with us to let his madness range. Therefore prepare you. I your commission will forthwith dispatch, and he shall to England along with you. The terms of our estate may not endure hazard so near us, as doth hourly grow out of his lunacies.
We will ourselves provide.
Arm you, I pray you, to the speedy voyage.
My lord, he is going to his mother's closet. Behind the arras, I'll convey myself to hear the process. I'll warrant she'll tax him home. And as you said, and wisely was it said, 'tis meet that some more audience than a mother, since nature makes them partial, should hear the speech of vantage. Fare you well, my liege. I'll call upon you ere you go to bed, and tell you what I know.
Thanks, dear my lord. Oh, my offense is rank. It smells to heaven. It hath the primal eldest curse upon't. A brother's murder. Pray, can I not? Though inclination be as sharp as will, my stronger guilt defeats my strong intent. And like a man to double business bound, I stand in pause where I shall first begin, and both neglect. What if this cursed hand were thicker than itself with brother's blood? Is there not rain enough in the sweet heavens to wash it white as snow? Whereto serves mercy, but to confront the visage of offense? And what's in prayer but this twofold force, to be forestalled ere we come to fall, or pardon being down? Then I'll look up, my fault is past. But oh, what form of prayer can serve my turn? Forgive me my foul murder. That cannot be, since I am still possessed of those effects for which I did the murder, my crown, mine own ambition, and my queen. May one be pardoned and still retain the offense? In the corrupted currents of this world, offence's gilded hand may shut by justice. And oft is seen, the wicked prize itself buys out the law. But 'tis not so above. There is no shuffling. There the action lies in his true nature. And we ourselves, compelled even to the teeth and forehead of our faults, to give an evidence. What then? What rests? Try what repentance can. What can it not? Yet what can it when one cannot repent? O wretched state! O bosom black! as death. O limed soul that struggling to be free, art more engaged. Help, angels! Make essay. Bow stubborn knees, and heart with strings of steel. Be soft as sinews of the newborn babe. All may be well.
Now might I do it, Pat. Now he is praying. And now I'll do it. So he goes to heaven, and so am I revenged. That would be scanned. A villain kills my father, and I, his sole son, do that same villain send to heaven? Why, that's higher in salary, not revenge. He killed my father grossly, full of bread, with all his crimes broad blown as flush as May. And how is all it stands, who knows save heaven? But in our circumstance and course of thought, 'tis heavy with him. And am I then revenged to take him in the purging of his soul when he is fit and seasoned for his passage? No. Up, sword. And know thou a more horrid hint. When he's drunk, asleep, or in the incestuous pleasure of his bed, at gaming, swearing, or about some act that has no relish of salvation in't, then trip him, that his heels may kick at heaven, and that he may be as damned and black as hell whereto he goes. But soft, my mother stays. This physic but prolongs thy sickly days.
My words fly up, my thoughts remain below. Words without thoughts never to heaven go.
You will come straight. Look you, lay home to him. Tell him his pranks have been too broad to bear with, and that your grace hath screened and stood between much heat and him. I'll silence me even here. Pray you be round with him.
Mother! Mother! Mother!
I warned you, fear me not, I hear him coming.
Now, mother, what's the matter?
Hamlet, thou hast thy father much offended.
Mother, you have my father much offended.
Come, you answer with an idle tongue.
Go, you question with a wicked tongue.
Oh, now, Hamlet.
What's the matter now?
Have you forgot me?
No, by the rood, not so. You are the queen, your husband's brother's wife, and would it were not so, you are my mother.
Nay, I will set those to you that can speak.
Come and sit you down. You shall not budge. You go not till I set up a glass, wherein you may see the inmost part of you.
What wilt thou do? Thou wilt not murder me? Help!
Help! Help! How now? A rat? Dead for a ducat. Dead!
I am slain!
What hast thou done?
Nay, I know not. Is it the king?
What a rash and bloody deed is this?
A bloody deed, good mother. Almost as bad as kill a king and marry with his brother.
As kill a king?
Aye, lady, that was my word. Thou wretched, rash, intruding fool. Farewell. I took thee for thy better. Take thy fortune. Thou find'st to be too busy is some danger. Leave wringing of your hands. Peace, sit you down, and let me wring your heart, for so I shall it be made of penetrable stuff.
What have I done that thou darest wag thy tongue in noise so rude against me?
Such an act that blurs the grace and blush of modesty, calls virtue hypocrite, takes off the rose from the fair forehead of an innocent love and sets a blister there, makes marriage vows as false as dicers' oaths. Oh, such an act as from the body of contraction plucks the very soul, and sweet religion makes it rhapsody of words. Heaven's face doth glow, yea, this solidity and compound mast, with tristful visage as against the doom, is thought-sick at the act.
I mean, what act that roars so loud and thunders in the index?
Look here upon this picture, and on this, the counterfeit presentment of two brothers. See what a grace was seated on this brow. Hyperion's curls the front of Jove himself, and I like Mars to threaten and command. Station like the herald Mercury, new lighted on a heaven-kissing hill. A combination and a form indeed, where every god did seem to set his seal to give assurance of a man. This was your husband. Now, look you what follows. Here's your husband, like a mildewed ear blasting his wholesome brother. Have you eyes? Could you on this fair mountain leave to feed and batten on this moor? Have you eyes? You cannot call it love. For at your age the heyday in the blood is tame, it's humble and waits upon the judgment. And what judgment would step from this to this? Oh shame, where is thy blush? Rebellious hell, if thou canst mutiny in a matron's bones!
Oh, speak no more. Thou hast turned mine eyes into my very soul, and there I see such black and grained spots as will not leave their tinct.
Nay, but to live in the rank sweat of an enseamed bed, stewed in corruption, honeying and making love over the nasty sty.
Oh, speak to me no more. These words like daggers enter in mine ears. No more, sweet Hamlet.
A murderer and a villain, a slave that's not 20th part the tithe of your present lord.
No more!
King of shreds and patches, save me and hover o'er me with your wings, you heavenly guards. What would your gracious figure?
Alas, he's mad.
Do you not come your tardy son to chide? Though lapsed in time and passion, let's go by the important acting of your dread command. Oh, say!
Do not forget. This visitation is but to whet thy almost blunted purpose. But look, amazement on thy mother sits. Oh, step between her and her fighting soul. Conceit in weakest bodies, strongest works. Speak to her, Hamlet.
How is it with you, lady?
Alas, how is it with you that you do bend your eye on vacancy and with the uncorporal head do hold discourse? To whom do you speak this?
On him! On him! Look, you how pale he glares! Do not look upon me, lest with this piteous action you convert my stern affects.
To whom do you speak this?
Do you see nothing there?
No, nothing at all. That is, I see.
Nor do you nothing hear?
No, nothing but ourselves.
Why, look you there! Look how he steals away my father and his habit as he lived! Look where he goes even now out of the portal!
This is the very carnage of your brain. This bodiless creation. Ecstasy is very cunning and...
Ecstasy? My pulse is yours to temperately keep the time, and makes its healthful music. It is not madness that I have spoken, mother. Love of grace, lay not that flattering unction to your soul, that not your trespass but my madness speaks. Will but skin and film the ulcerous place, whiles rank corruption, mining all within, infects unseen. Confess yourself to heaven. Repent what's past. Avoid what is to come. And do not spread the compost on the weeds to make them ranker.
Thou hast cleft my heart in twain.
Throw away the worser part of it, and live the pure with the other half. Good night. But go not to my uncle's bed. Assume a virtue if you have it not. That monster custom who all sense doth eat of habits evil as angel yet in this. Refrain tonight, and that shall lend a kind of easiness to the next abstinence, the next more easy, for use almost can change the stamp of nature. Once more, good night. For this same Lord I do repent. Heaven hath pleased it so to punish me with this, and this with me, that I should be their scourge and minister. I will bestow him, and will answer well the death I gave him. Once more, good night. I must be cruel, only to be kind. Thus bad begins, and worse remains behind.
What shall I do?
Not this, by no means that I bid you do. Let the bloat king tempt you again to bed, pinch wanton on your cheek, call you his mouse, and let him for a pair of reechy kisses, or paddling in your neck with his damned fingers, make you to ravel all this matter out, that I essentially am not in madness, but mad in craft. 'Twere good you let him know.
Be thou assured, if words be made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me.
I must to England, you know that?
Oh, alas, I had forgot 'tis so concluded on.
There's letters sealed, and my 2 schoolfellows, whom I will trust as I will adders fanged, they bear the mandate. They must sweep my way and marshal me to knavery, but let it work. I will delve 1 yard below their minds, and blow them at the moon. Oh, 'tis most sweet when in one line 2 crafts directly meet. This man shall set me packing. I'll lug the guts into the neighbor room. Good night, mother. Indeed, this counselor is now most still, most secret, and most grave, who was in life a foolish, prating knave. Come, sir, to draw towards an end with you. Good night, mother.
Where is your son?
Oh, mine own lord, what have I seen tonight?
What, Gertrude? How does Hamlet?
Mad, mad is the sea and wind when both contend which is the mightier. In his lawless fit, behind the arras, hearing something stir, whips out his rapier, cries a rat, and in this brainish apprehension, kills the unseen good old man.
Oh, heavy deed! It had been so with us, had we been there. His liberty is full of threats to all, to you yourself, to us, to everyone. Alas, how shall this bloody deed be answered? It will be laid to us, whose providence should have kept short, restrained, and out of haunt this mad young man. The sun no sooner shall the mountains touch, but we will ship him hence. And this vile deed We must, with all our majesty and skill, both countenance and excuse. Oh, Guildenstern, friends both, go join you with some further aid. Hamlet, in madness hath Polonius slain, and from his mother's closet hath he dragged him. Go, seek him out, speak fair, and bring the body into the chapel. I pray you, haste in this. Come, Gertrude. We'll call up our wisest friends and let them know both what we mean to do and what's untimely done. We'll come away. My soul is full of discord and dismay.
Safely stowed.
Hamlet!
Hamlet! What's off? What noise is this?
Who calls on Hamlet?
Oh, here they come.
What have you done, my lord, with the dead body?
Compounded it to dust, whereto 'tis kin.
Tell us where it is, that we may take it thence and bear it to the chapel.
Do not believe it.
Believe what?
That I can keep your counsel and not mine own. Besides, to be demanded of a sponge, what replication should be made by the son of the king?
Take you me for a sponge, my lord?
Aye, sir. That soaks up the king's countenance, his rewards. But such officers do the king best service in the end. He keeps them like an ape, in the corner of his jaw, first mouthed to be last swallowed. When he needs what you have gleaned, it is but squeeze you and sponge you shall be dry again.
I understand you not, my lord.
I am glad of it. A knavish speech sleeps in a foolish ear.
My lord, you must tell us where the body is and go with us to see the king.
The body is with the king, but the king is not with the body. A king is a thing.
A thing, my lord.
Of nothing. Bring me to him. Hide, fox, and all after.
How now? What hath befallen?
Where the dead body is, my lord, we cannot get from him.
But where is he?
Without, my lord. Guarded to know your pleasure.
Bring him before us.
Ho, Guildenstern! Bring in my lord!
Now, Hamlet, where's Polonius?
At supper.
At supper? Where?
Not where he eats, but where he is eaten. A certain convocation of politic worms are e'en at him. Your worm is your only emperor for diet. We fat all creatures else to fat us, and we fat ourselves for maggots. Your fat king and your lean beggar are but variable service. 2 dishes, but to 1 table. That's the end.
Alas! Alas!
A man may fish with the worm that hath eat of a king, and eat of that fish that hath fed of that worm.
What dost thou mean by this?
Nothing, but to show you how a king may go a progress of the guts of a beggar.
Where's Polonius?
In heaven. Send thither to see. If your messenger find him not there, seek him in the other place yourself. But indeed, if you find him not within this month, you shall nose him as you go up the stair into the lobby.
Go, seek him there.
He will stay till you come.
Hamlet, this deed for thine especial safety, which we do tender, as we dearly grieve for that which thou hast done, must send thee hence with fiery quickness. Therefore, Prepare thyself. The bark is ready, and the wind at help. The associates tend, and everything is bent for England.
For England!
Aye, Hamlet.
Good!
So it is, if thou knewest our purposes.
I see a cherub that sees them. But come, for England! Farewell, dear mother.
Thy loving father, Hamlet.
My mother. Mother and father is man and wife. Man and wife is one flesh. Therefore, my mother. But come, for England.
Follow him at foot. Tempt him with speed aboard. Delay it not. I'll have him hence tonight. Away. For everything is sealed and done that else leans on the affair. Pray you make haste. And England, if my love thou hold'st at all, thou mayst not coldly set our sovereign process, which imports at full the present death of Hamlet. Do it, England, for like the hectic in my blood, he rages! Thou must cure me, till I know 'tis done. Howe'er my haps, my joys were ne'er begun.
Speak with her.
She is importunate, indeed distraught. Her mood will needs be pitied.
But what would she have?
She speaks much of her father, speaks things in doubt that carry but half sense. Her speech is nothing, yet the unshaped use of it doth move the hearers to collection. They aim at it, and botch the words up fit to their own thoughts, which, as her winks and nods and gestures yield them, indeed would make one think there might be thought, though nothing sure, yet much unhappily.
'Twere good she were spoken with, for she may strew dangerous conjectures in ill-breeding minds.
Let her come in. To my sick soul, as sin's true nature is, each toy seems prologue to some great amiss. Of such artless jealousy is guilt. It spills itself in fearing to be spilt.
Where's the beauteous majesty of Denmark?
How now, Ophelia? How should I look to love no from another one?
By his cockle hat and staff, and his sandal shoe. He is dead and gone, lady. He is dead and gone. At his heels a grass-green turf, and his head a stone. Oh,
No, how now, Ophelia?
There you mock. White his shroud as the mountain snow, lauded all with sweet flowers, which bewept to the grave did not go with true love showers.
How do you, pretty lady?
Well, God help you. They say the owl was a baker's daughter. Lord, we know what we are, but know not what we may be. God be at your table.
Concede upon her father.
Pray, let's have no words of this. But when they ask you what it means, say you this. Tomorrow is St. Valentine's Day. All in the morning betime, and I am made at your window to be your Valentine. Then up he rose and donned his cloak and up the chamber door, let in the maid that out a maid never departed more.
Pretty Ophelia.
Indeed, now without an oath, I'll make an end on it. By Jesu and by Saint Charity, a luck and 5 for shame. Young men will do it if they come to it. By cock they are to blame. Quoth she, before you tumble, you promised me to wed. He answered, so would I have done by yonder sun, hadst thou not come to my bed.
How long has she been thus?
Oh, I hope all will be well, but we must be patient. But I cannot choose but weep to think they will lay him in the cold ground. My brother shall know of it. And so I thank you. Thank you for your good counsel. Good night. Good night, ladies. Good night, sweet ladies. Oh, good night. Good night. Good night.
Follow her close. Give her good watch, I pray you. Oh, this is the poison of deep grief. It springs all from her father's death. Oh, Gertrude, Gertrude. When sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions. First, her father slain, next, your son gone. And poor Ophelia divided from herself and her fair judgment. Her brother is in secret come from France, with pestilent speeches of his father's death. Oh, my dear Gertrude, this, like to a murdering peace, in many places, give me superfluous death. Where are my switches? Let me go before.
Save yourself, my lord! They cry, choose we! Liberty shall be king! Liberty's king! Up the
Doors are broken!
Where is this king? Sir, stay you all with that! No, let's come in. Come in! I pray you give me! We will. I thank you. Keep the door. Vile king! Give me my father!
Calmly, Laertes.
That drop of blood that's calm proclaims me bastard!
What is the cause, Laertes, that thy rebellion looks so giant-like? Let him go, Gertrude. Do not fear our person. Tell me, Laertes, why thou art thus incensed?
Where is my father?
Dead.
But not by him.
Let him demand his fill.
How came he dead? I'll not be juggled with. I dare damnation. To this point I stand, that both the world I give to negligence, let come what comes. Only I'll be revenged most thoroughly for my father.
But Laertes, I am guiltless of your father's death, and am most sensibly in grief for it. It shall, as level to your judgment, pierce, as day does to your eye.
How now, what noise is this? of mine eye. By heaven, thy madness shall be paid by weight, till our scale turn the beam. Oh. Rose of May. Dear maid, kind sister, sweet Ophelia! Oh, heavens! Is possible? A young maid's wits should be as mortal as an old man's life? Nature is fine in love, and where 'tis fine it sends some precious instance of itself after the thing it loves.
They bore him bare-faced on the bier. Hey, nani, and in his grave rained many a tear. Fare you well, my dove.
Hadst thou thy wits and didst persuade revenge, it could not move thus.
You must sing it down and down, and they call him a downer. Oh, how the wheel becomes it! It is the false steward that stole his master's daughter.
This nothing is more than matter.
There's rosemary for you. That's for remembrance. Pray you, love, remember. And there's pansies, that's for thoughts.
Thoughts remembrance fitted?
There's fennel for you. and here's some columbines. There's rue for you. And here's some for me. We may call it herb of grace on Sundays. Oh, you must wear your rue with a difference. Here's a daisy. I would give you some violets, but they withered all when my father died. They say he made a good end. For Robin, sweet Robin, is all his joy.
Thoughts, afflictions, passion, hell itself.
And will he not
She
come
turns to favor
again?
and to prettiness.
And will he not come again? No, no, he is dead. Go to thy deathbed. He never will come again. His beard was as white as snow. All flaxen was his poll. He is gone, and we cast away moan. God, have mercy on his soul, and of all Christian souls, I pray God, God be with you!
Do you see this? Oh, God!
Laertes, I must commune with your grief, or you deny me right. Go but apart, make choice of whom your wisest friends you will, and they shall hear and judge twixt you and me, if by direct or by collateral hand they find us touched. We will our kingdom give, our crown, our life, and all that we call ours to you in satisfaction. But if not, be you content to lend your patience to us, and we shall jointly labor with your soul to give it due content.
Let this be so. His means of death, his obscure funeral, no trophy, sword, nor hatchment o'er his bones, no noble right, nor formal ostentation, cry to be heard. A sword from heaven to earth that I must call into question.
So you shall, and where the offense is, let the great axe fall. I pray you, go with me.
What are they that would speak with me?
A seafaring man, sir. He says he has letters for you.
Let him come in. I do not know from what part of the world I should be greeted, if not from Lord Hamlet.
God bless you, sir.
Let him bless thee too.
I shall, sir, and please him. There's a letter for you, sir. It comes from the ambassador that was bound for England. If your name be Horatio, I am let to know it is.
Horatio, when thou shalt have overlooked this, give this fellow some means to the king. He has letters for him. Ere we were 2 days old at sea, a pirate, a very warlike appointment, gave us chase. Finding ourselves too slow of sail, we put on a compelled valor, and in the grapple I boarded them. On the instant they got clear of our ship, so I alone became their prisoner. They have dealt with me like thieves of mercy, but they knew what they did. I am to do a good turn for them. Let the king have the letters I have sent, and repair thou to me with as much speed as thou wouldst fly death. I have words to speak in thine ear will make thee dumb, yet are they much too light for the bore of the matter. This good fellow will bring thee where I am. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern hold their course for England. Of them I have much to tell thee. Farewell, he that thou knowest thine Hamlet. Come, I'll give you way for these your letters, and do it the speedier, that you may direct me to him from whom you brought them.
Now must your conscience my acquittance seal, and you must put me in your heart for friend, sith you have heard, and with a knowing ear, that he which hath your noble father slain pursued my life.
It well appears. But tell me why you proceeded not against these feats, so crimeful and so capital in nature.
Oh, for a special reason, which may to you perhaps seem much unsinned, but yet to me it is strong. The queen, his mother, lives almost by his looks, and for myself, my virtue or my plague, be it either which. She's so conjunctive to my life and soul, that as the star moves not but in his sphere, I could not but by her. I loved your father, and we love ourselves, and that I hope will teach you to imagine. Hark, a messenger comes. How now, what news?
Letters from Hamlet, sir. This one for your majesty, this one for the queen.
From Hamlet? Who brought them?
A sailor, sir.
Laertes, you shall hear them. Leave us. High and mighty, you shall know I am set naked on your kingdom. Tomorrow shall I beg leave to see your kingly eyes, when I shall first, asking your pardon thereunto, recount the occasion of my sudden and more strange return. Hamlet. What should this mean? Are all the rest come back, or is it some abuse and no such thing?
Know you the hand?
'Tis Hamlet's character naked, and in a postscript here he says, alone. Can you advise me?
I am lost in it, my lord, but let him come. It warms the very sickness of my heart, that I may see him and tell him to his teeth, thus didst thou!
If it be so, Laertes, and how should it be so? How otherwise? Will you be ruled by me?
Aye, my lord. So you will not o'errule me to a peace.
To thine own peace. I will work him to exploit, now ripen my device, under the which he shall not choose, but for, and for his death, no wind, but even his mother shall uncharge the practice, and call it accident.
My lord, I will be ruled, the rather if you could devise it, that I might be the organ.
It falls right. You have been talked of since you travel much, and that in Hamlet's hearing, for a quality wherein they say you shine.
What part is that, my lord?
2 months since, here was a gentleman of Normandy.
A Norman wast?
A Norman.
Upon my life, Lamond.
The very same.
I know him well. He is the brooch indeed, and gem of all the nation.
He made confession of you, and gave you such a masterly report for art and exercise in your defense, and for your rapier most especially, that he cried out, "'Twould be a sight indeed if one could match you." Sir, this report of his did Hamlet so envenom with his envy that he could nothing do but wish and beg your sudden coming, or to play with you. Now out of this.
What out of this, my lord?
Laertes, was your father dear to you? Or are you like the painting of a sorrow, a face without a heart?
Why ask you this?
Not that I think you did not love your father, but that I know love is begun by time, and that I see in passages of proof, time qualifies the spark and fire of it. There lives within the very flame of love a kind of wick or snuff that will evade it. That we would do, we should do when we would, for this wood changes, and hath abatements and delays, as many as there are tongues. But to the quick or the ulcer, Hamlet comes back. What would you undertake to show yourself your father's son, indeed, more than in words?
To cut his throat in the church!
But, good Laertes, will you do this? Keep close within your chamber. Hamlet returns, shall know you are come home. We'll put on those shall praise your excellence, and set a double varnish on the fame the Frenchman gave you. Bring you in fine together, and wage on your heads. He, being remiss, most generous, and free from all contriving, will not peruse the foils. So that with ease, or with a little shuffling, you may choose a sword unbaited, and in a passive practice, requite him for your father.
I will do it, and for that purpose I'll anoint my sword. I bought an unction of a mountebank so mortal that but dip a knife in it, where it draws blood, no cataplasm so rare, collected from all simples that have virtue under the moon, can save the thing from death. This is what's scratched withal. I'll touch my point with this contagion that, if I gall him slightly, it may be death.
Let's further think of this. If this should fail, this project should have a back or second sort. Let me see. We'll make a solemn wager on your cunnings. High hot. When in your motion you are hot and dry, as make your bouts more violent to that end, and that he calls for drink, I'll have prepared him a chalice for the nonce, whereon but sipping, if he by chance escape your venom stuck, our purpose may hold there. How now, sweet queen?
One woe doth tread upon another's heels, so fast they follow. Laertes, your sister is drowned.
Drowned? Where?
There is a willow grows aslant the brook that shows his hoary leaves in the glassy stream. There with fantastic garlands did she come. There on the pendant boughs, a crowned weeds clamoring to hide, fell in the weeping brook. Her clothes spread wide, and mermaid-like a while they bore her up, the while she chanted snatches of old tunes, as one incapable of her own distress, or as a creature native and endued unto that element. Long it could not be but that her garments, heavy with their drink, pulled the poor wretch from her melodious lay to muddy death.
Alas! And she is drowned.
Drowned. Drowned.
Oh, too much water has... Poor Ophelia! And therefore I forbid my tears. Yet it is our trick. Nature her custom holds. Let shame say what it will. When these are gone, the woman will be out. Adieu, my lord. I have a speech of fire that would fain blaze, but this folly doubts it.
Let's follow Gertrude. How much I had to do to calm his rage. Now, fear I, this will give it start again. Therefore, let's follow.
In youth, when I did love, methought it was very sweet to contract the time, for I my behold, methought there was nothing to meet.
Has this fellow no feeling of his business that he sings at grave making?
For custom hath made it in him a property of easiness.
'Tis e'en so. The hand of little employment hath a daintier sense.
But age, with his stealing steps, hath clawed me in his clutch, and has shipped me into the land as if I had never been such.
I'll speak to this fellow. Whose grave's this, sirrah?
Mine, sir.
I think it be thine indeed, for thou liest in it.
'Tis a quick lie, sir. 'Twill away again from me to you.
What man dost thou dig it for?
For no man, sir.
What woman, then?
For none either.
Who's to be buried in it?
One that was a woman, sir. But rest her soul, she's dead.
You must speak by the card, or equivocation will undo us. By the Lord, Horatio, these 3 years I have taken note of it. The toe of the peasant comes so near the heel of the courtier, he galls his kye. How long hast thou been a grave maker?
All the days of the year I came to it, that very day that our last King Hamlet overcame Fortinbras.
How long is that since?
Can I tell that? Every fool can tell that. It was the very day that young Hamlet was born. He that is mad and sent into England.
Ay, marry, why was he sent into England?
Oh, he shall recover his wits there. And if you do not, 'tis no great matter there.
Why?
'Twill not be seen in him there. For they are the men are as mad as they.
How came he mad?
Very strangely, they say.
How strangely?
Faith in with losing his wits.
Upon what ground?
Oh, here in Denmark. I've been sexton here now, man and boy, some 30 years. Here's the skull now.
How long will a man lie there he rot?
Oh. If he not be rotten before he die, as we have many pocky corpses nowadays, that will scarce all the laying in, he will last you 8 or 9 years. A tanner will last you 9 years.
Why he more than another?
Why, sir, his eye is so tan is trade that'll hold out water a great while. And your water is a sore decay of your horse and dead body. Here's a skull now, sir. The skull laying in the earth 23 years.
Whose was it?
A mad fellow it was. Whose do you think it was?
Nay, I know not.
A whoreson mad fellow it was. He poured a flagon of Rhenish on my head once. This same skull, sir. The Zurich skull. The king's jester.
This?
In that.
Let me see. Alas! Poor Yorick. I knew him, Horatio. He's a man of infinite jest, of most excellent fancy. He hath borne me on his back 1,000 times. And now, how abhorred in my imagination it is, my gorge rises at it. Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. Where be your jibes now? Your gambols, your songs, your flashes of merriment that were wont to set a table on a roar. Not one now to mock your own grinning, quite chapfallen. Now, get you to my lady's chamber, and tell her, let her paint an inch thick to this favor she must come. Make her laugh at that. But soft. Aside. Aside. Comes the king, the queen, the courtiers. Who is this they follow with such maimed rites? This doth betoken the course they follow did with desperate hand fordo its own life. 'Twas of some estate. Couch we awhile and mark.
What ceremony else?
This is Laertes, a very noble youth. Mark.
What ceremony else?
Her obsequies have been as far enlarged as we have warranty. Her death was doubtful. Yet here she's allowed her virgin krantz, her maid instruments, and the bringing home of bell and burial.
Must there be no more done?
No more be done. We should profane the service of the dead, to sing a requiem in such rest to her as to peace-parted souls.
Lay her in the earth. And from her fair and unpolluted flesh may violets spring. I tell thee, churlish priest, a minstrel angel shall my sister be, when thou liest howling!
What? The fair Ophelia?
Sweets to the sweet, farewell. I hope thou shouldst have been my Hamlet's wife. I wish to deck thy bride bed, sweet maid, and not have strewn thy grave.
Oh, travel wall! Fall 10 times treble on that cursed head, whose wicked deed thy most ingenious sense deprived thee of! Hold off the earth a while, till I've caught her once more in mine arms.
What is he whose grief bears such an emphasis? Whose phrase of sorrow conjures the wandering stars, and makes them stand as wonder-wounded hearers? This is I, Hamlet the Dane.
Devil, take thy soul!
Thou prayest not well. Take thy fingers from my throat.
Hamlet, Hamlet!
Although I'm not splendid and rash, yet I have in me something dangerous, which let thy wisdom fear.
Good my lord, be quiet.
Why, I will fight with them upon this theme until my eyelids no longer wax.
My son, what theme?
I loved Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not with all their quantity of love make up my sum. What would thou do for her? Would weep, would fight, would fast, would tear thyself, would drink up Aesolite or crocodile? I'll do it. Nay, and thou now, thou rant as well as thou.
This is mere madness. Thus the fit may work on him a while. Anon, the patient female dove, when that her golden couplets are disclosed, his silence will sit drooping.
Hear you, sir. What is the reason you use me thus? I loved you ever. But it is no matter. Let Hercules himself do what he may. The cat will mew, and the dog will have his day.
I pray thee, good Horatio, wait upon him. strengthened your patience in our last night's speech. We'll put the matter to the present push. Good Gertrude, set some watch over your son. This grave shall have a living monument. An hour of quiet shortly shall we see. Till then, in patience, our proceedings be.
So much for this one. Now shall you see the other. Our indiscretion sometimes serves us well when our deep plots do pall, and that should learn us there's a divinity that shapes our ends, rough hew them how we will.
That is most certain.
Up from my cabin, my sea gown scarfed about me, groped I in the dark to find out them. Where I found Horatio, O royal knavery, an exact command, that on the supervise, no leisure bated, no, not to stay the finding of the axe. My head should be struck off.
Is it possible?
Here's the commission. Read it at more leisure. Wilt thou bear me how I did proceed?
I do beseech you.
Being thus benetted round with villainies, I sat me down, devised a new commission, wrote it fair, an earnest conjuration from the king, as England was his faithful tributary, that on the view and knowing of these contents, without debatement further, more or less, he should the bearers put to sudden death, no shriving time allowed.
So, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern go to it.
My man, they did make love to this employment. They are not near my conscience. Their defeat does by their own insinuation grow.
Why, what a king is this? It must be shortly known to him from England what is the issue of the business there.
It will be short. The interim is mine, and man's life is no more than to say one. But I am very sorry, Horatio, that to Laertes I forgot myself. For by the image of my cause I see the portraiture of his. I'll court his favors.
Peace. Who comes here?
Your lordship is very welcome back to Denmark.
I humbly thank you, sir. Dost know this waterfly?
No, my lord.
Thy state is the more gracious. 'Tis a vice to know him.
If your lordship were at leisure, I should impart a thing to you from his majesty.
I will receive it with all diligence of spirit. Put your bonnet to its right use. 'Tis for the head.
I thank your lordship. It is very hot.
No, indeed it is very cold. The wind is northerly.
It is indifferent cold, my lord, indeed.
But yet methinks it is very sultry and hot for my complexion.
Exceedingly, my lord. It is very salty, as it were. I cannot tell how. But my lord, his majesty bade me signify to you that he has laid a great wager on your head. Sir, this is the matter.
I beseech you, remember.
Nay, good my lord, for mine ease, in good faith. Sir, he is newly come to court Laertes. Believe me, an absolute gentleman, full of most excellent differences.
Sir, his definement suffers no perdition in you. What imports the nomination of this gentleman?
Of Laertes?
His purse is already empty. All his golden words are spent.
Of him, sir.
I know you're not ignorant.
I would you did. Yet in faith, if you did, it would not much approve me. Well, sir?
You're not ignorant of what excellence Laertes is. I mean, sir, for his weapon.
What's his weapon?
Rapier and dagger.
That's two of his weapons. But well.
The king, sir, has wagered with him 6 Barbary horses, against which he has impugned, as I take it, 6 French rapiers and poniards.
That's the French bet against the Danish. Why is all this impugned, as you call it?
The king, sir, has laid that in a dozen passes between yourself and him, he shall not exceed you 3 hits. He has laid on 12 for 9, and it would come to immediate trial if your lordship would vouchsafe the answer.
How if I answer no?
I mean, my lord, the opposition of your person in trial.
I will walk here in the hall. If it please his majesty, it is the breathing time of day with me. Let the foils be brought, the gentleman willing, and the king hold his purpose. I will win for him if I can. If not, I'll gain nothing but my shame and the odd hits.
Shall I redeliver your insult?
To this effect, after what flourish your nature will.
I commend my duty to your lordship.
Yours? Yours?
We lose this wager, my lord.
I do not think so. Since he went to France, I have been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds. But thou wouldst not know how ills all hear about my heart. But it is no matter.
Nay, but good, my lord.
It is but foolery. It is such a kind of gain-giving as would perhaps trouble a woman.
If your mind dislike anything, obey it. I will forestall the repair hither and say you are not fit.
Not a whit. We defy augury. There's a special providence in the fall of a sparrow. If it be not now, it is not to come. If it be not to come, it will be now. If it be not now, yet it will come. The readiness is all. Since no man knows aught of what he leaves, what is't to leave betimes? Let be.
Come, Hamlet. Come, take this hand from me.
Give me your pardon, sir. I have done you wrong, but pardon it, as you are a gentleman. This presence knows, and you must needs have heard, how I am punished with sore distraction. What I might have done, that might your honor, nature, and exception roughly awake, I here proclaim was madness. Wast Hamlet wronged Laertes? Never Hamlet. If Hamlet from himself be taken away and does wrong Laertes, Hamlet does it not. Hamlet denies it. Sir, in this audience, let my disclaiming from a purposed evil free me so far in your most generous thoughts that I have shot my arrow o'er the house and hurt my brother.
I am satisfied in nature, whose motive in this case should stir me most to my revenge, but in my terms of honor I stand aloof, and will know reconcilement until by some elder masters of known honor have a voice and precedent to keep my name ungored.
I embrace it freely, and will this brother's wager frankly play. Come, give us the foils.
Come, one for me.
I'll be your foil, Laertes. In mine ignorance, your skill shall, like a star in the darkest night, stick fiery off indeed.
You mock me, sir!
No, by this hand.
Cousin Hamlet, you know the wager.
Very well, my lord. Your grace hath laid the odds o' the weaker side.
I do not fear it. I have seen you both. But since he is better, we have therefore odds.
This is too heavy. Let me see another.
This one likes me well. Have these foils all a length?
Aye, my lord.
Stay. Set me the stoups of wine upon this table. If Hamlet give the first or second hit, the king shall drink to Hamlet's better breath. And in the cup an union shall he throw, richer than that which 4 successive kings in Denmark's crown have worn. Come, begin, and you the judge, bear a wary eye.
Come on, sir.
Come, my lord. the very papa.
Well, again! Stay. Give me drink. Hamlet, this pearl is thine. Here's to thy health. Give him the cup.
I'll play this bout first. Set it by a while. Come.
Another hit, what say you?
Touch, I do confess!
Our son shall win.
He's fat and scant of breath. Hamlet, take my napkin and wipe thy brow. The queen carouses to your fortune, Hamlet.
Good, madam.
Gertrude, do not drink.
Pardon me, my lord. I will.
It is the poisoned cup. It is too late.
I dare not drink yet. Set it by a while.
My lord, I'll hit him now.
Do not think.
It is almost against my conscience.
Come, Laertes, for the third, you but dally. I pray you, pass with your best violence. I'm afeard you make a wanton of me.
Say you so. Come on!
Nothing either way.
Have at you now.
Halt them, they are incensed.
Nay, come again.
Look to the queen there, ho!
They bleed on both sides. How is it, my lord?
Poison, Laertes.
What? As a woodcock to mine own spring, I am justly killed with mine own treachery.
How does the queen?
She swoons to see them bleed.
No, no! The drink! The drink! Oh, my dear Hamlet. The drink! The drink! I am poisoned.
Treachery! Seek it out!
It is here! Hamlet, thou art slain. No medicine in the world can do thee good. In thee there's not half an hour of life left. The treacherous instrument is in thy hand, unbaited and envenomed. The king's to blame!
The point in venom too?
Then, Venom, do thy work!
Treason!
Treason. Oh, yet defend me, friends! I am but hurt!
Here, thou incestuous, murderous damdane! Drink off this potion! Is thy union here? Follow my mother!
He is justly served. Exchange forgiveness with me, noble Hamlet. Mine and my father's death come not upon thee, nor thine on me.
Heaven make thee free of it. I follow thee. I am dead, Horatio. Wretched queen, adieu. You that look pale and tremble at this chance, had I but time, as this fell Sergeant Death is strict in his arrest, oh, I could tell you, but let it be. I am dead, Horatio. Report me and my cause aright to the unsatisfied.
Never believe it. I am more an antique Roman than a Dane. Here's yet some liquor left.
By heaven, I'll hat! Good Horatio, what a wounded name! The thing standing thus unknown shall live behind me. Thou didst ever hold me in thy heart, absent thee from felicity a while, and in this harsh world draw thy breath in pain to tell my story.
Young Fortinbras with conquest come from Poland.
Oh, I die, Horatio. Potent poison quite o'ercrows my spirit. I cannot live to hear the news from England, but I do prophesy the election lights on Fortinbras. He has my dying voice. So tell him, with the occurrence more or less that hath solicited. The rest is silence.
Thou cracks a noble heart. Good night, sweet prince, and flights of angels sing thee to thy rest. Let us the drum come hither.
Where is this sight?
What is it you will see? If aught of woe or wonder, cease your search.
This quarry cries on havoc. O proud death, what feast is toward in thine eternal cell, that thou so many princes at a shot, so bloodily hast struck?
You from the Polack wars. Give order that these bodies, high on a stage, be placed to the view. And let me speak to the yet unknowing public how these things came about. So shall you hear of carnal, bloody, and unnatural acts, of accidental judgments, casual slaughters, of deaths put on by cunning and forced cause, and in this upshoot purposes mistook, fallen on the inventors' heads. All this can I truly deliver.
Let us haste to hear it, and call the noblest to the audience. Let 4 captains bear Hamlet like a soldier to the stage, for he was likely, had he been put on, to have proved most royally. And for his passage, The soldier's music and the rights of war speak loudly for him. This sight becomes the field, but here shows much amiss. Go, bid the soldier shoot.